The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
Asked by Fox News host Neil Cavuto if some Republicans go too far in their criticism of Obama, Bush said flatly, "I do. I think when you start ascribing bad motives to the guy, that's wrong. Turns off people who want solutions." Okay, that's two different points, first of all. So let me help Jeb. Ascribing bad motives to the guy, that's wrong. It turns off people who want solutions. So apparently these are mutually exclusive, right? Well, should we ascribe good motives to Obama? With what he's doing with the EPA to our industries, with what he's doing at the NLRB to our employees. Good motives when he appoints radicals to the bench. Good motives when he goes on the air and lies repeatedly about Obamacare, right, Jeb? Those are all good motives. In fact, they're patriotic. He's a patriot. Hey, Jeb, what does it mean to fundamentally transform America? Is that a good motive, too? So what are you talking about? You don't know what you're talking about. And it turns off people who want solutions. Really? Turns off people when you expose the president for what he is based on what he has said, based on who he is. So you turn off people who want solutions. Really, Jeb, are people this stupid? This one-dimensional? Now, if somebody has as their objective, Jeb, to fundamentally transform America, what kind of a motive is that? Is it a good motive? Moderate motive? Does that not turn off people who want solutions? Jeb says it's fine to criticize him. That's politics. But just to stop there isn't enough. You have to win with ideas. You have to win with policies. He's made a situation that was bad worse. He's deserving of criticism for that. He's not deserving of criticism for the common cold on up. Liberals talk like this with their throwaway lines. He's being criticized for what he has done and what he is doing. And he's being challenged for his notion of fundamental transformation, what he has said and who he is. And he must be defeated. And we're not going to defeat him with somebody listening to Jeb Bush, who's basically removed himself from the political arena and yet advises everybody else on how to behave. If you're a conservative, he says, you have to persuade. You can't just be against the president. Is this guy living in a time warp or something? I think he is. I think he is. I know he is. We keep the pressure on, folks. The establishment is out of touch. Jeb Bush is a man of ideas. Some of them are good. Some of them are quite stupid, actually, like his open borders amnesty views. Quite stupid, pandering, and really very unattractive. We have to come up with a word for people who pander to people based on their race as a group rather than as individuals who should participate in pursuing the American dream as individuals. Because Jeb Bush is among those, like George Bush and too many others, who treat people based on their, or talk about them based on their ethnicity. When he should be talking about individual liberty, private property. This is what I mean, Jeb. We have all the ideas. All of them, we conservatives. And we can walk and chew gum at the same time. And we not only have to promote our ideas, we need to explain why Obama is not qualified. I don't mean constitutionally. I'll leave that to the goofballs. He is not qualified based on his own experience and record to be president. He's not qualified based on his radical ideology, Jeb, to be president, in my humble opinion. And why the hell shouldn't we bring it up? He brings it up. He's written about it. He talks about it.
The question of Obama's birth, where he was born, is an important question. But the more important question is whether or not he is a natural-born citizen because he was born in Hawaii. The conventional wisdom is that if he could produce a birth certificate showing that he was born in Hawaii, that would make him a natural-born citizen. That's not true. That only makes him a citizen by birth. And there's a distinction between the two terms. A citizen by birth is a person who becomes a citizen because he was born in the geographical limits of the United States, and he was here lawfully, or his parents were here lawfully, and therefore, by birth, he's a citizen. Now, that's because in the first sentence of the 14th Amendment of the United States Constitution, it states specifically that a person who is born in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof is a citizen. Now, most people think that's a definition of a natural-born citizen, but people forget that that was put into the Constitution not for the purpose of defining what a natural-born citizen is as it applies to the President of the United States, but it was placed in the Constitution for the specific purpose of declaring that people who were part of the newly freed slave class were citizens of the United States and of the state in which they resided, because the United States Supreme Court had ruled in the Dred Scott case that a person who had been brought over to the United States against his will could never become a citizen of the United States, much less a citizen of the state. So the place of birth that gives rise to citizenship by birth was addressed to the question of what to do with this entirely new group of people who would otherwise be stateless because they couldn't, under the Dred Scott rule, become a citizen having been born in the United States. Now, natural-born citizen in relationship to the office of president and whether someone is eligible was in the Constitution from the very beginning. The 14th Amendment definition of citizenship by birth was not addressed at all to the question of one qualification to run for president of the United States. Even the language is different. It talks about a natural-born citizen. Well, what is a natural-born citizen? Well, another way of putting it is there is a law of the nature of citizenship. If you're a natural-born citizen, you are a citizen according to the law of nature, not according to any positive statement in a constitution or in a statute, but because of the very nature of your birth and the very nature of the of nations and your relationship to the nation as a citizen. So what you have to do if you want to find out whether someone's a natural-born citizen is go back and look at what the law of nature would be or would require in order to be a citizen by birth. And that's precisely what a natural-born citizen is one who is born to a father and a mother, each of whom is a citizen of the United States or whatever other country that they're claiming natural-born citizenship in. Now, what we've learned from the Hawaii birth certificate is that Mr. Obama's father was not a citizen of the United States. His mother was, but he doesn't qualify as a natural-born citizen for the office of presidency.
The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.